Life all depends on your circumstances. And really how awful your caretaker or parent is to you. I really don't believe that it's nice to believe in good destinies, but because there's too many awful destinies. See, like, for people to say, well, I believe, everything that happens, happens for a good reason, a reason. No, it doesn't. Like, like, the insane abusers never ever found out about. That's just the way Hell Earth is. And it's forgotten about 100 years go by. And this guy did a history um, examination of the world. Our world dies every 100 years. Now it's time for it to die again. Like 1920s is like when it died. God, so scary. But I mean, like, my whole life was hell. So, like, oh, do I really care that, Yeah, I'm not afraid of death whatsoever at all. I don't know why my dead husband was. I was at peace when he died, and really, because of there's still time. Like, so my dad died and my husband died. I guess their spirit is, just around, hanging out. Like, maybe he had an old car of his that, I don't know, what is that? His brother's house or something. And that's where my dead husband would have went to. My dad went to his house because that's where all his belongings are. Okay, that's what spirits usually do. Okay. But at the end of time, what is man's life but a vapor? They don't know Jesus, they're vaporized. My dad was never around, so. But he was a weirdo. And my husband was just awful to me, so. Um, but I still, if, check it out, if the human race, if they couldn't wish the worst on their worst enemy, then why would God want eternal hell for man? It's just, but maybe I would say that maybe Satan can't die, and hell was made for Satan and all of his fallen angels, the demons. Because demons can't stand Jesus. So that's how you know that Jesus is real. Like, they really can't stand Jesus. And I talked to one through a medium. That's why this young pastor, what's his name again? Richard Lorenzo, is wrong. And say, well, all that's evil. Well, a medium that went into my mom's house, I wouldn't have known that there were two demons in that house if it wasn't for the medium. So that medium was a blessing, and that medium is discerning of spirits, but that's a different discerning of spirits. The spirit actually enters you, and so the good spirits go in the front, and they're around, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just don't want the demons to go through. But in my case, it was good to know that there's two demons in that house. I mean, it's a good, it's like, oh, is that why it's doom and gloom in that house all the time? There's just something not right about that house. Yeah. It's nice to know that, death surrounds the house with the two demons. And the other thing is, Richard Lorenzo is a reader. So that's a psychic. So that's discerning of spirits. So there was a woman, there was a lady, I would consider her a lady. She just went up with a really, really mean ex-boyfriend. She stayed with him. She was codependent to him. How sad. But she was a beautiful lady, and she was able, just filled with energy, she was able to discern of spirits, know what each person in a cafeteria needed. She could read people. That was her gift. I can't do that, you know. And why wouldn't you want that? I did love her gift, to tell me just to quit it. Stop, living in my past and get over it. It was a lot to get over. It's a lot of trauma that I went through, but she went through trauma too. But she, people who are traumatized are people pleasers, like Patrick Teahan and her. So she's a people pleaser. So she'll go and get anybody coffee, tea. You need cake, cookie, or they're bad for you. But hey, could I go up and get something from the front? Do you need ice? What do you need? The people pleaser is from. They act like that because they were abused to death, traumatized. That's the way they had to act as a child to their parent or caretaker who traumatized them to death. So it's just there. And they don't treat themselves well, but they treat others like gold. And that's what I noticed. So, yeah, I mean, Mr. Lorenzo, he's a young pastor. He has that gift of discernment. You can walk into a witch shop and say exactly what's going on with women. Like, oh, I know, my spirit says that you were sexually abused. Oh, I see demons on you. I can feel, and people can see that stuff. People can see but my experience, you don't have to be a real Jesus person to have that gift. And the Bible, some places doesn't make any sense. It's like, stay away from psychics. Well, what is the difference between the psychic, a reader, and the person who has the gift of discernment? They're telling the person exactly who they are. Now, in my own little tiny world, the only way I was able to do that is I was forced to be around my insane, abusing narcissists. And that's the only way that I knew who the hell they really are. My dead husband was Satan himself, but, I hope him and my dad disappear like the rest of the human race, if, there even is an eternity. I suffered so much on this earth, I kind of give mankind the benefit of the doubt, okay, it would be nice if, alright, the Bible is so fucked up. Over half of it is messed up, so shouldn't use the F word because some people get offended. Alright, the whole world is fucked up, I can say. And the Bible's supposed to be holy, but then, man, really, really did mess it up. And the Adam and Eve story ain't real, because we couldn't have came from incest, so that's the truth. Where did the other beings come from? It wasn't just Adam and Eve. And besides, we forgot the first lady, who was Lilith. What? She ain't like Adam, so Satan banned her into hell? That's not right. Like, what is really going on? Really? Like, is there a God? Yeah. Because God made me sane through his blood, but can he straighten out the Lilith? Like, what did Lilith do that was wrong? What, she didn't like Adam? Well, so what? Doesn't mean she had, I don't know who Lilith is. I just know she was the first woman, and she, had something like that. That's not in the Bible, so how can you say the Bible's real and Noah's Ark? Get out of here. There is no way you can have a male giraffe, a female giraffe, a male elephant, a female elephant, a male cougar, and tiger, and wild pig, and a female wild pig, cougar, tiger, bear. You can't have all these animals. Oh, don't forget the white bear and the white and the black bear. Yeah, okay, sure. Oh, well, they didn't have that many species back then. Okay, whatever. They at least had one bear. Yeah, try to get a bear on the ark with an elephant and a rhinoceros and an alligator, okay? Try it. Not realistic. You could probably get them all in a zoo, and that would even be that would have been a project to prove that there was no such thing as Noah's Ark. Back when you could do it, in the 80s. Well, this is bullshit, and we're going to prove it. Could I get a male and a female of every single animal and see if it's even possible? Because it's not. So, yeah, the prodigal son is another one. What father tortures his good son who slaves out in the farm from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every single day? Not every day, but, he worked hard on the farm. Probably at least 10 hours a day. That's a hell of a lot. And then the young son says, oh, I just want to go blow all my money like Purple Alien God. Oh, okay. So the father gives Purple Alien God half the inheritance. And they just go out in blood. Now the son has every right to be righteously angry when his brother comes home. Now, he can be happy that he didn't die and be like, okay, well, what should have happened? This is the only way that story would have went well with me. If the prodigal son that came back said, yeah, I can't believe, how good my brother was. And since I was such a rotten guy and I blew half of the inheritance, I will work from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. for a year at least. And my brother doesn't have to do a thing. Because he's the good guy and I want to be just as good as him. And not, this is another story in the Bible. Okay, this really doesn't make any sense. A rich man hired homeless people, all right, to work in the fields, all right. So he promised them a penny, a denarii, Okay. From like 5 o'clock, you start hiring people, and then the next hour, 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and then some at noon. So he's hiring them all throughout the day. He hires one at 4 o'clock. So that person's only working for an hour. Now, the person at 5 o'clock, 5 a.m., has the right to be righteously angry. I'd be like, what the hell? I worked 11 more hours than that loser that only works for, give me his penny, because I deserve it. Yeah. The crazy king or whoever, the authority figure. Yeah. You gotta, I'm the one with the money, and I get to say who gets what. Who cares if you worked 11, who cares if you slaved 11 hours and this person didn't? I don't care. That's wrong. And that's in the Bible somewhere. That is wrong. That's totally wrong. And then we can't forget Job. What kind of God would punish one of his own to death? Kill his whole family, kill his whole farm, all his cattle, kill all his family, and then give him boils and make him sick and make him like an invalid, like can't stand. I mean, just make him like super, super sick. And the wife says, curse God. Well, that would be the righteous thing to do. Everyone else, even God, if you put God in that position, God would curse himself. I mean, he can't curse himself. It's just a dumb story that I never... Well, my beautiful, genius, atheist boys, they didn't like the story. I'm like, yeah, it's a fucked up story. It really is. And you can say fucked up because it is. Jonah the whale. Nineveh. That doesn't make any sense. Get out of here. You can't live in a whale for 3 days. Okay? I don't care. How, you want to buy that story. How much you want to buy that story, but no. Absolutely not. And then there's elderly people in a church one time, and she's trying to explain. Okay, well, they could have just symbolized it. Yeah, that's what they did in the Bible. Everything's a symbol and everything. They symbolized the 3 days that Jesus on the cross. 3 days, Nineveh is in the belly of a whale. And the thing that doesn't make any sense with that story is the entire city believed in Jesus. Nobody believes in Jesus. That's just reality. Really. And you go in all these churches, do they believe in Jesus? Or are they just a parakeet and they're just repeating what they learn? What they don't have no thought of what they're saying. And that's most people. They're dead. They're the walking dead. Zombies in this world that they call the Matrix. Who cares? You live with people who don't think. And they don't care about desperate victims. So I think they suck. That no one cares about poor desperate victim who wants to die because of their insane abuser. I mean, isn't there anyone out there that actually cares about poor victims? I mean, the whole year of 2006, the whole year of 2010, and then 2012, I didn't realize what was hacked up on my Facebook. That caused me, unfortunately, to be raped. And then, all the hell that happened after that. Was any of that my fault? No. It was my insane unspeakables. He ruined my life. Earth is hell. I can't help it. I knew all these child molesters who ruined my life. And then, child molester lovers. I was like, God, you don't care, how much an innocent victim is tortured. This earth ain't worth it. You have to, come to the conclusion, there's nothing worthwhile. Is there? Seriously.